Hey guys, it's Dorje. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to go through a whole medley of pandemic props. So we're about a month into lockdown or quarantine here in America. Maybe you have been in for longer, maybe shorter, depending on if you're in the front lines still working, or if your place of business or your country was just like, nope, everybody's on lockdown right now, right away. So if you're stuck at home and you don't want to order yoga studio props online and have them delivered to your house, I have a bunch of different ways that you can substitute yoga props for things that are in your home. So to start with, honestly, is the basic is your mat. So do you have a yoga mat? If you don't, that's totally fine. You can use any blanket and you can take it to the dimensions that are comfortable for you. The main purpose of the mat is to give you an idea of spaciousness so you can know where your body is orienting in your poses, and to give yourself a little bit of grip so that you don't slide. So you could honestly just do stuff on the floor, on carpet, and then just have blankets next to you to pad knees or elbows if you need to. A mat isn't required necessarily, but it can be a nice addition to your practice just to add a little bit of grip and or cushion. So next prop, I'm sure you guys have seen these. This is a pretty typical yoga studio blanket. So it's basically just a standard Mexican blanket, honestly. And the reason why studios use them is because they're really durable, they last a really long time, and you basically just can throw them in the wash and they won't get eaten up. If you don't have one of these blankets, no worries. I just have this other blanket. I made this many years ago. So you can have one of your favorite blankets, maybe that you made or somebody gave to you, or that's like hidden around your couch. You can use one of those, or even use a towel. So none of us are allowed to go to the beach really right now. You can use a beach towel, you can use a bath towel, anything that's gonna give you cushion for your joints. It's gonna be really comfortable. If you don't prefer to use blankets very often, then you can just use a hand towel. And so you can just fold it up like this, and then you can stack your knees on top of it as just a little extra cushion when you feel like it. Another great prop that you can probably find in your home is a chair without wheels. So a chair without wheels is very stable. It's going to be really great for a lot of your restorative poses. It'll be good stability if you don't have any wall space and you want to utilize aspects of a wall. If you're doing inversion practice, or even if you're doing legs up the wall. If you have too much art in your house, that's not a bad thing, that's pretty cool. You can just substitute wall function with a chair that you have. Next, we have a yoga studio bolster. So if you're like, what's a bolster? It's basically just a cushioned pillow that's kind of elongated. So if you have a body pillow at home, that's awesome. That's actually, in my opinion, better than a studio bolster. But if you want, you can just use a regular pillow. So you can use as many or as few pillows as you want. It just depends on your body and what you like to use in your practice and how you like to cushion yourself. So you could use any dimension of pillow, as many different combinations, as long as your back feels okay. That's the great beauty of it. And then we come to yoga strap. So this is a pretty typical studio strap. It's about 8 feet long, I think this dimension is. So you're probably not going to find something that's quite that long in your house, but if you have a cloth belt, this is almost literally the exact same fabric that my strap is made out of. If you don't have a cloth belt, you can also just use a regular belt. I just recommend being a little bit gentler with that since it's probably made of leather. And then you also can use a tie if you don't feel comfortable using a tie, or your significant other or your roommate or whatever doesn't want you to use a tie. Don't worry about it. You don't have to. That's why I'm giving you different options. Another thing you can use as a substitute for a strap is a shawl. So a shawl, you just kind of open it up, turn it into a rope, and it's almost the same dimensions as a yoga strap. One last thing you can use as a strap, go back to that hand towel. So a hand towel has multiple functions. It's obviously not as long as a yoga strap, but if you have long limbs and you're pretty flexible and you feel comfortable using one, it's the same thing. You just make it into a little rope and you can substitute it as your strap. And then last but not least, we have our yoga block. So a lot of yoga studios use foam blocks and there are different firmnesses of yoga blocks. This one is cork. I love cork. I also love wood, but they also slide around a lot. So if you're ordering this online, then get whatever material you're most comfortable with. But if you're not ordering it and you want to substitute, use big textbooks. So I have two different books here. This one is a hardback, this one's a paperback. So if you'll notice, hardback is pretty thick, but it's not very tall. It will be really stable for you. And if you're curious, this is The Musician's Guide to Theory and Analysis from my bachelor's degree, because I have a music degree. And then my flimsier but taller textbook is The Norton Anthology of Western Music, Volume 2. So it's just full of a bunch of music. But you can use this to bring the ground closer to you in any balancing poses. Just be aware that it might be a little more challenging to shift around in your practice, especially if you're watching a video online, because they'll be heavier than a typical yoga block, which is maybe not even a pound or two, and your textbooks are gonna be heavier. And then my favorite, or maybe your favorite way to bring the ground to you, you can bring in some wellness wine into your practice. So if you're doing half moon pose and you want to have a really tall prop, you can just reach for not the neck of your bottle, but the top of the body of the bottle so it's more stable, and then press down and you can open yourself up, have some nice balancing poses. If you're not into wellness wine or wine at all, use your water bottle. Same thing, ground it down, grab the body of the water bottle, and then use it as your stabilizing device. So I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys have a great day. Be happy, be healthy, and namaste.